Let me go to your page so I can accept it.
Mic check, mic check. That's our little intro music.
I guess it's going to automatically come up, probably.
What's that?
It didn't say anything about me having to add it to my timeline, so I guess we're good.
Oh, yeah, because I tagged you in it. I tagged you and
I see it.
Yeah, so it should be on your timeline. Well, hopefully it should be on your timeline.
Gotcha.
So we golden, baby. So this is the recap. -1. Unfortunately, my boy... Well, fortunately, unfortunately, my boy K is out. He had an addition to the family. So, you know what I'm saying? Big ups to him. So he is not with us today. And, you know what I mean? Congratulations, brother. We will have him back next week. Wrapping it up. You know what I mean? He'll give us a recap of his 2 weeks, considering he'll be missing this week. And hopefully give us some good news about the baby and how that's lifing him, you know, doing for life. But we got a amazing guest, a real estate guru. Tell the people who you are and what you do, boo.
Okay, great. Well, I'm Jalana Cuyler. I'm a real estate agent in Middle Georgia. I currently work with Keller Williams Realty of Middle Georgia. We are located on Russell Parkway in Warner Robins, and we also have an office off Riverside Drive in Macon, Georgia.
Where the office at on Riverside?
It's actually right across. It's actually in the Cadence Bank building. We have a suite on the top floor. Cadence Bank is like right across from the mall.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering where y'all office was. I did a internship with Keller Williams when I was in Buffalo.
Okay.
I created the internship because they didn't have one, and I just went in there and I was like, "Yo, I want to learn about real estate, and what's up? Can y'all do I got an internship or anything?" They're like, "No." I was like, "Well, how about this? How about I come in here for how many departments y'all have in here?" And I think they had 8. She said, and I was like, "Well, I'll just spend a week with each one of the people in y'all department, and you know what I mean. At the end of it, it is what it is."
So how was it?
I loved it. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah. She offered to give me to help pay for my
the course,
a course or whatever.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. After I was done with it and all, she was like, "Yo, because nobody has ever done that. I bought them pizza, gave them a plaque and everything. After I was done with it, it was real cool."
Nice.
So I've always had a love for Keller Williams.
Okay.
Because of the office up there in Buffalo, lady let me in with open arms.
Gotcha. It's very family oriented.
Yeah.
So I would assume that all of the locations are like that.
Yeah.
Middle Georgia is like that as well. Great company to work with.
Gotcha. So did you start with the one in Macon, or you went right to Warner Robins?
So it's the same company that we just have 2 different locations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So as Keller Williams started growing, they branched off to a different location, but it's still Middle Georgia.
So which location was first, the Macon one or the Warner Robins?
Warner Robins.
Warner Robins. Okay. And then they grew into Macon.
Right.
Oh, that's dope. So how long you been doing it?
So I started real estate November of 2019.
Okay. So, I mean, you've been in there a good little bit now.
I have, yeah. I came in right before the pandemic, so I would say the perfect time to come in.
Yeah, definitely, because people was buying some stuff up.
Right.
Yeah, so that's super dope. What got you into it?
So that's a really great question. Actually, growing up, I really didn't know anything about real estate. Not saying that I didn't view it as important, but it wasn't something that was talked about in the household. So it wasn't until I really got to college and started taking accounting classes where the professor was talking about how important real estate was.
Gotcha.
So
what school?
So I graduated from Middle Georgia State.
Okay, nice.
So everything is right here in Macon.
Right, yeah.
So I would say they started talking about it and was more so from an investing standpoint.
Okay, gotcha.
And, that just kind of stuck on the back of my mind to at least take the real estate course to learn how to invest in real estate. I never saw myself actually becoming a real estate agent because I really didn't think that it was like a full-time career job. When people talk about real estate, they always talk about it from a side hustle or part-time, but it is definitely a full-time career position. So after graduating college and having a bunch of decent jobs, you definitely started exploring different things. So it kind of came back to my mind, like, you know what? My jobs are not that great. Let me give real estate a try. And so I took my course. I took a course down in Warner Robins on South Houston Lake Road. And I was in the course and just kind of learning from an investor standpoint. But I realized that I'm catching on really fast.
Gotcha.
You know, I had previous experience in sales, but it wasn't that great. So I told myself, if real estate is like the sales, and I don't want to call any company names, but you know, if real estate is like the sales that I've done before, this is not going to work out. Which is why I only saw myself being an investor and not a real estate agent.
You ain't got to do as much selling or
right.
Gotcha.
So, but I am glad that I gave it a try. During my real estate course, I think I had 2 family members to actually purchase houses. Okay. So, they didn't really know much about the process. Like, they purchased houses, but they didn't know about the process. So me just being a student in real estate, you know, when you're a student, it's like, hey, did your real estate agent tell you about this? Did they tell you about this? And they're just
overload, just dropping it on people.
It's an information overload. And that's when that's when my focus from just being an investor to actually becoming an agent, that's when it shifted. Because I'm like, you know, I got 2 family members. They just purchased houses.
That could have been me.
And, well, no, not just that could have been me. They were not fully educated on the process. Yeah. Gotcha. You know, never looking at it from a perspective like, dang, those could have been my sales, because I didn't see myself even becoming an agent.
You was looking at it from an investor standpoint from the
beginning. So, you know, it's more so of like, I should really teach real estate. I want my clients to be well informed about what they're doing. This is a lifetime commitment.
That's true.
You know, I can say African Americans are growing in the stages of becoming homeowners. So, you know, it's not a lot of families where we come from everybody owning a house. So, you know, that's true, yeah. But representation is just so important. Right. So all of this is going through my mind. Like, not only do I have a bad job while I'm in the course, but it's also like, I should give this a try. Like, I'm learning the material. I'm enjoying what I'm learning. You know, I'm already seeing where I have family members that are working with real estate agents who are not giving them the information that they need to truly be the best homeowners.
That suck too. Like, seeing that, like, from the outside looking in, like, yo, man, they could be doing so much better. Like, and I could probably be doing way better because I know the information, and why aren't they telling you this, that, and the third? You know what I'm saying? So I can see that. So
just to kind of fast forward a little bit, that's when I decided to actually become a real estate agent. I didn't see myself going full-time because I kept my full-time job. You know, there's no money to be made in real estate unless you're selling. So it's not something that you just say, hey, I'm going to do and I'm going to quit all of the, all of the income I have, because you're not going to make any money if you're not selling.
Because it's 100% commission.
Right? It is 100% commission based, right? And there's a lot of fees associated with real estate. But, you know, it kind of got to the point where I ended up talking to my HR manager, and they told me that it was going to be a conflict of interest.
No,
right.
So you just getting your license with a conflict of
interest? Just got my license, right? And, you know, I'm just a really honest person. So, you know, in the handbook, it always talks about if you have any sort of secondary employment to let them know. So I had a great relationship with my HR manager, and I told her, like, I'm interested in you know, getting into real estate. And, you know, she asked me a few questions like the company, how many hours I would work. And I told her, I said, well, if I don't have any clients, I'm not working at all. So, you know, it's hard to say that it's secondary employment because it's not guaranteed to have a return.
Exactly.
And
the conversation. Like you're a W-2 employee.
You're not a W-2 employee.
With Keller Williams.
Right. So the conversation just didn't go too well. She had to talk to the vice president of the company to kind of give approval on, you know, whether I can do it or not. And I didn't see it as a big deal because I'm like, we don't do anything with real estate.
Right.
So especially the sales of real estate. So how is it a conflict of interest? But, you know, to be honest with you, sometimes people can see, I would say sometimes people can see you being way more successful than you are.
No, for
you know, and I think that, I'm not even going to say that it scares some people, but some people don't want to see you in a better place.
Oh, definitely.
And I really think with this HR manager, I knew her mindset was more so like, if you get into real estate, this girl is going to kill it. Because, you know, even with this job, I'm getting promotions every 2 months.
Oh, wow.
I'm getting a pay raise. So I'm doing great, you know, looking for extra work in the company. But I don't know, I guess I was just kind of unhappy. But I can say hearing that no, because after she talked to the vice president, they actually told me it would be a conflict of interest. And I would have to choose real estate or that job.
Come on.
So, and this was actually This was around March of 2020.
Oh, wow.
So this is literally when the world shut down.
Right.
And
so you're like, yo, wait a minute.
Right. It was crazy. And to be honest,
up until that point, have you actually, you had just got your license, so you still wasn't sure about.
So I got my license November 2019.
Okay.
And
March,
so November 2019, and I told her about it then, but it was literally like, I think I'm going to get my license. I didn't say that I had already gotten my license.
Yeah.
But then I went back to her office and I told her that I'm getting my license. This is what I'm going to do. And I'll just do it on the weekends and after 5, so it's not going to interfere with the hours.
Right.
And that's when she had to talk to the vice president, and that's when they made their decision.
Well, I mean, it was a sucky decision for them, but wonderful.
It was
for you, because imagine if you were still at that job.
I know, and you know what? I hate being told. That's the honest truth, and I think that's what really empowered me to do it. Because when you tell me no, I'm like, oh no, I don't take no. I want
it even more now.
Right, I want it even more, and I also felt like it's something about real estate that I don't know about because I'm getting all of these no's. Even, and I talked to my parents about it too, because at the time I think I was either 24 or 25. So I talked to my parents about it, and they were still in the mindset of, you got to keep consistent income. You just got a job, you're just getting your insurance. What are you doing? Like, you need consistent income. So, not saying I did not have the support from them, but it was more so like, you need to stay where you are.
And I tell people that a lot too, like, you don't feel like it's support because they're more so kind of trying to protect you. You know what I'm saying? They're looking out for your best interest. So they're not saying like, yo, shame on your dreams or whatever. They just don't see what you see, one. But also that they're your parents. They want the best for you. And they can only see so far because of the way they grew up and what they were exposed to. So what they know is get a good job and hold on to that joint 30, 40 years, retire, and boom, you're done.
Right.
Like, that's it.
Right.
So, that's obviously, what they want for you because that's what they see as the best thing. So, y'all stop beating up your parents because they don't see y'all entrepreneur dream. They just don't see entrepreneurship as an avenue. They see it a 9 to 5 as an avenue. That was their success because, like, you got to think before them, their parents was like, it was more manual labor. You know what I'm saying? So now for them, it's like, oh, well, we dealing in corporate America, like breaking into corporate America is huge for them. You know what I mean? That was a success to their parents. Like, yo, I don't know about that. You need to be working on the steel mill or something like manual labor.
Right.
And they was talking about going to go get a job in somebody's office sitting at a desk. Yeah. That sounds crazy to their parents.
Yeah, like, that's very true.
So, you got to think about it like that. It's just evolution.
Yeah. And too, when you're the first at anything, it's always the hardest. Had I came from entrepreneurship as a family, and not just parents, but as a family, it would have been like, oh yeah, just do it. We got nothing to lose.
Yeah, how we need to do to help you, what we need to do.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you're a first, it's harder, but it's so rewarding.
It is.
So rewarding.
It is. So that's dope that they, they did what they had to kind of stand by you, give you words of encouragement. Because some people don't even get that, and they be like, "Man, look, that's dumb." Don't do that.
So my mom was like, "Are you sure you want to do it? Because you've quit a lot of great jobs. So are you sure you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Well, you never know if you want to do it unless you try it."
That's a fact.
So,
and you're glad you did.
Right.
So like, when was it? So you quit your job, and then. What kind of happened after that, like, to kind of get you to where you are now? Because you kind of, like, got some big accolades in this real estate thing.
I appreciate that. So just quitting in March with COVID going on, like, real estate was not considered essential. So it was pretty much a pause on the industry. With me still being a pretty new agent, I just, I honestly would say I was depressed a little bit because I was broke. Right. I decided to quit my job. Right. So there wasn't really anything that I could do outside of steadying my craft because I can't create more bills and more debt when there's no money.
Right. That's a fact.
So, I just decided, I'm like, you know what? Well, when I get clients, I want to be the best real estate agent it is. I want to be so knowledgeable that that client is knowledgeable. Gotcha. And, just to kind of fast forward a little bit, I work with so many clients where now they're interested in real estate. So, never to
like
toot my own
investing?
horn, but no, just to become an agent.
Ah, okay. That's
And so
dope.
this is something
Getting
too where it's
inspired,
like, right, the process is smooth, it's great, or you're teaching me this, and now I feel like it's something that I can do.
Wow.
So, let me kind of get into real estate. So the first few months, I just decided to study hard. I wanted to know everything it was about real estate. I read all of the contracts, all of the scenarios. I think I stayed in the office quite a bit to get all the training, mentorship. So when I got a client, I was not going to let that client leave me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times when you're new at the industry and somebody sees that you're new, it's like, I don't know if I want her helping me with this huge purchase.
Right.
Because I don't know if she knows what she's doing.
Right.
And at the time, I had not bought a house. So in my mind, I'm like, how is somebody going to buy a house from me if I don't have a house, right? So it was a lot of pressure that I was putting on myself at that time, but I went really hard in the books. And it was a lady that she saw my page from Facebook.
Okay.
And, she reached out to me and she said that she wanted to buy a house. And I was just super excited because at the time I was just kind of posting on social media. The power of social media. I know you'll probably talk about that later.
No,
but,
go ahead.
I was just kind of posting, just posting so much information.
So you're just kind of, putting the information out there that you just was learning yourself.
Right. Information that I was just learning and just keeping my audience engaged.
Gotcha.
So I did that, and
so how often was you posting? Would you say the information?
I think I was posting at least 4 or 5 times a week. I mean, all I had was time.
Yeah. No,
so yeah, I was posting probably about 4 or 5 times a week on my Facebook business page, my Facebook page, my Instagram page, even on Snapchat at the time. And it wasn't much longer. Right. Yeah. I would say in June I had 2 closings. So probably from like March to June. June I had 2 closings. And then was kind of dry a little bit in July. But I think around September, October I had 6 closings.
Oh, wow.
So the average real estate agent only sells about 4 to 6 houses a year. So even though 4 to 6 a year. Dang. Yeah. So even with me just coming in, I was like, okay, I'm getting pretty, I'm not going to say good, but I'm like, I'm actually able to sell a few houses. So this is becoming a little bit smoother for me.
Yeah.
But, that year I wasn't full time from January to actually December.
Right.
So that next year, which was 2021, that was my first full time year.
Gotcha.
And that was the year that I was able to help 46 different families. 46.
Goodness
right.
gracious.
Right. 46.
Amazing. So you're telling me most agents only do 4 to 6.
Right.
You did 46.
I did 46.
That's
46 transactions.
Amazing. That is,
right.
Yo, that is huge. So like, what changed for you? Like, what was the battery in the back that was like, yo, I'm about to kill it?
That's a really good question. I've always been a hustler. Like anything that I do, I want to do well because my name is attached to it.
Gotcha.
So honestly, I think it was me just getting more comfortable, like having clients and, they're happy and we're closed and the file is going great. Mm-hmm. And, so I went harder on my marketing. I posted more because of course, when you get comfortable doing something, you want the world to know that you do a really great job of it. And then it just kind of came to word of mouth. It was word of mouth. So now those clients are telling everybody that they know about, me being a real estate agent. Right. So that's kind of how it took off. But really, it's the consistency of it all.
Right.
I mean, I think that year I probably put about 50,000 miles on my car.
Ooh.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is literally from going up to Monroe County, which is Forsyth, and maybe going down as far as Pulaski, which is Hawkinsville. So that
just
about 50,000.
Mm-hmm. Because I was gonna ask you like what area do you kind of cover? Okay. With Middle Georgia, so it's about that.
Yeah. So yeah, that was then. At now, and we'll kind of talk later.
We're a little bigger now.
Yeah, we're a little bit bigger now. Right.
So dang, okay, that's crazy. So, but no, that makes sense though. Like you said, once you start getting comfortable with something, you're gonna really go hard at it. And then, like you said, social media, and you were already active on social media, so that helped. Like people already were seeing you post information about it, so I'm sure whenever they start seeing you post like, hey, close on this property, close on that property, close on that property for this customer, like it just was like, yo, okay.
That's the key too. You cannot be a secret agent. A lot of times, and I think I've seen a lot of posts lately about people getting things confused. Like when you're constantly posting, it's more so of bragging, but honestly, it's not bragging. You're posting because when you post your success, it attracts more of it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I like that. Because a lot of people do think of it as bragging and boasting, but I mean, nah, it's like, yo, I'm putting it out there so the universe can be like, yo, here go more.
Right.
You deserve
Here's
more.
more of it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it inspires people too. Like, I mean, I'll be so busy, I don't get a chance to post all the time, or I'll be like doing stuff and I'm like, I should have posted that, and I just forget about it. But every now and then I'll like run into somebody and like, man, you don't be posting like that no more. Like, all your stuff kind of like was motivating me, it was inspiring me, and I'm like, dang, okay.
Yeah.
I got, have a duty to also, you know what I mean, serve the people and help with inspiring them and, you know, coaching them and teaching them different things in the industry. So, that's super solid that, you know, you stayed at it and stay consistent with posting and all of that. So, like, social media is one of your, well, obviously outside of word of mouth, social media is one of your biggest propellers to, I guess, your success in a sense.
Right. And to this day, I honestly have never, I've never paid for any sort of professional advertising still.
Okay.
So, you know, I always tell myself, oh, I'm going to do it. And I am going to do it really soon, but I just have not done that yet. So, and that's also for a lot of the business owners that are just starting. You know, people think that everything has to be so, and I don't want to say professional, because things can be professional and not by a professional.
Right.
You know, like, you don't have to always spend $400 for photos and buy this outfit and all of it, because at this point it's like, what have you even made? Right? So, and I can't say every profession is probably different with it, so I don't want to step on anything that I'm not aware of. But you know, I always feel like start where you are. Start where you are.
Because I see a lot of people that'll do that. They'll spend some crazy bread for like headshots, these crazy business cards, and all of this other stuff, and they don't do nothing. Right. Like they end up like fizzing out. Like, yo, that's the highlight of their business. Yeah. And then be like, yo, what happened to that business you was doing? Or even with like real estate, like, yo, houses or anything, like, what happened? Like, you spent all that money, you made this big brand announcement, and you didn't do anything with it. But, you know what I mean? Like you said, starting where you are. Yeah. And it's not as much pressure on yourself.
But that's the thing, too. Like, people go on social media and they see what someone else is doing. And so they decide to copy it, thinking that that's going to work. Right. Those are only lifestyle photos. Right. You know? Right. And, I mean, we're not going to go on this topic too much. But, you know, the best part of if your lifestyle meets the photo. Right. You know, like, if you are living the lifestyle, that's the best part of it. And when you are living it, I don't think you have to just take professional photos every week. No, not at all. But not at all.
Or you know, you ain't got time to do it because you're too busy enjoying yourself.
I mean, but a little bit though.
A little bit. Every now and then.
Yeah. Every now and then. Yeah.
That's always my issue. I always like go do something cool and be like, dang it, I should have took a picture of that.
But you're living in the moment though. And I feel like at times I have just shared so much of my life because everything that you do in life, especially, I feel like when you're in entrepreneurship, everything that you do in life is highlighted. Gotcha. Right? Or nothing, like your life is no longer private. Not saying that we're celebrities or anything like that, but your life is no longer private.
On a local scale, on a small scale, I mean, you know, a local celebrity.
So anyway, you know, you get to the point where you're just sharing everything because when you're sharing, it's views, and you know, views create dollars. To be honest, so you start sharing your entire lifestyle. Exactly.
Because you never know who's looking and when. Right. Because that one thing that you might post might bring you, you know what I mean, a couple clients. And they're going to close on some houses. And boom. And then they'll share their experience and boom, boom, boom. It's just a snowball effect. Because that's kind of how we did with our t-shirt business. We pretty much, I think the only thing that we did in the beginning was we traded with the radio station for like some radio, for a radio ad. And that was like the most as far as advertising we did. Outside of that, it was just like the free Facebook stuff. And we kept saying we was going to pay for ads, but we just could never understand the whole Facebook ad. Well, just how to run an effective one. So we didn't want to waste no money on it. Gotcha. So we just never did. So, you know what I mean? But it kind of worked itself out. Like everybody, like you said, everybody kind of tells somebody else and boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, you're doing well. So I definitely get that. So basically, so after your first year, the 46 houses, like How'd that make you feel? Like,
so I think around like March March, April of that year, one of the mentors at the time at Keller Williams, she sat down with me and we started talking about our numbers. And she asked me what my goal was for the year.
gotcha.
And I told her my goal, and she said, we're going to have a talk. Like, you're there.
Oh, wow.
And I said, are you kidding me? Right? Because, this is my first full-time year coming in. And,
Right.
The mindset is just the average real estate agent is selling between 4 to 6 houses a year. So I might sell 8 or 10.
Yeah.
It was more so like, okay, I'll probably sell like 8 or 10. And, she said, well, we got to talk because you're already there. And, she just
need a new goal.
Right. And she just told me, she was like, look, I mean, you are going to hit 5 million in 4 months.
Wow.
Like, you're going to hit 5 million in production volume in 4 months. And that's when I just kind of looked at her like, what? Right. Because, I mean, honestly, and when you're really hustling, you're not just looking at the financials or, you're just grinding from day to day.
Not looking at the scoreboard.
You're not looking at the scoreboard, right? And so my days were, waking up super early, answering every phone call, every text message, all messages from all 3, social media sites, emails, just working, showing houses. I mean, whatever it was that needed to be done. And I was not keeping track of what my volume was because first, I wasn't in any sort of competition. It was just a matter of let me continue to enjoy what I'm enjoying.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, when she told me that, I was like, wow. And she started talking about most agents, they don't do that sort of volume in a year.
Right.
And so here I am just getting out of the first quarter.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, wow.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, and so, I think then around June, I made a post.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I had real estate agents all over the U.S., like literally all over the U.S. calling me like, hey, what are you doing? And,
oh, wow.
like, what are you doing? Like, look at your numbers. You just got in it. Like, what? And so everybody's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And I think at that time I was like, okay, I've done something that's not so common.
Yeah, that's
like,
different.
wow.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to just throw out the 5 million in volume because depending on where you are, home prices are even higher. So I like to focus more so on units. Like talking about the 46 units because you could sell a $5 million house but only have one transaction.
Yeah.
So I don't talk too much about volume, but that was a time where I was like, wow, I've really been out here working. Now, of course, my car is knowing I'm working because I'm at the dealership almost every 2 months getting oil change, new tires, so I'm at the gas pump every day paying for gas. So of course I'm working, but it's just a
part
grind.
of the process. Like you trying to
part of the
process.
process.
Like
exactly.
they say that a lot. Like you got to fall in love with the process.
Yep, and I did.
And that's when you kind of see some kind of success because you don't scoreboard watch.
Right.
You're not paying attention to the numbers at all. You just in it and you just enjoying the part of it. And next thing you know, you like, oh shoot.
Right. I mean, I didn't even feel like I was working, even though of course it was taking all of my time.
Right.
It was taking all of my time, but I felt like, okay, this is my passion.
Right.
This is what I was supposed to be doing a long time ago because this comes easy to me. And I don't mean easy in terms of like, okay, I don't have to do anything and get a client. I'm not talking about easy in that sense, but this aligns with my personality, my values, like, okay, this is a great career choice for me.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. And that makes it a lot easier to deal with as well.
It
know what I mean? Like, and it don't make it hard to wake up early.
Right.
Stay late.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, travel far to do it.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you think back to when you was working at that job, I'm sure it was a lot of mornings you ain't feel like getting up.
Right. Never.
You know what I mean? And it probably was later than what you get up now.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you still didn't feel like getting up because you just didn't feel like going to that job. It didn't align with what you were into, and it just was you didn't like it.
Right.
And now with this, it's just like, it makes it so much easier to do those things. Like sometimes I wake up before my alarm clock go off. I'm like, I'm ready to start the day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I just don't feel like getting out of bed because I'm just exhausted.
I feel you.
But,
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's still like that other part, you know what I'm saying, with the clients and everything like that. Be like, all right, now you got to get up because you got to go help these people.
Right.
So that kind of pushes me up and get me out the bed. But So that's dope. So your first quarter, you crushed your year goal.
Right.
And then what was the new goal after that? Like how many units did you sell the first quarter?
I think I was like, I'll just double it. You know, I said I'll just double it because at this point, you know, it's quarter one, so I'll double it.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you know, they talk about like busy seasons in real estate. I'm not going to go into busy seasons because, to be honest, it's always a pretty constant market. But, you know, they kind of say like when kids are out of school, summer is a busy time. And then they say when the weather is great, it's a busy time. Right. But I found so much success in quarter four when it's cold. You know, so don't really just
it changes from person to person.
It changes from person to person, but yeah. So I was just like, well, I'll double it. Yeah. I think I actually end up tripling it. I actually end up tripling it. Mm-hmm. Well, no, for the end of the year. Yeah, okay, just total. I end up tripling it. And lit. So again, I think I was in shock a while, maybe months. You know, still just working, but more so like, well, you got to keep going. You know, keep going, because you can't just sit in it. And then I think I discovered, what is it called? I forgot the name of it, but it's pretty much where you're surprised that it's actually you. Like you're not imposter. Yeah. I didn't even know what it was, but I was like, wow, I have imposter syndrome. Like I've been working so much, and all these people are realizing who I am and my work ethic. But I'm the same person, so all I'm doing is my job, right? So that's my mindset, and that's when I realized, like, wow, like you do have to believe that this is your new life. Right. You're working hard. Yeah. You deserve it. Right. You know, so I definitely went through. That as well, because it just happened so fast. I would say
success. Yeah, and then like you said, you really was in it. Like it was like, yo, I'm not even paying attention to the rest of this. Like, right. I know I struggle with that a lot just now. Still, like I just be working, and I don't look up often. But then I look up and be like, oh shoot, okay, that's cool. And everybody like, oh my god, this is such a great thing. And I'm like, well, it's really just a piece of where I want to be. So I can't be so excited about this because I know where I want to be.
Something else,
right? You know what I'm saying? Right. So, but we do gotta like, I know I talk about it a good amount on the podcast. My business partner at the t-shirt shop, Dre. He always tell me like, bro, you need to just, pop your shit, bro. Pop your shit. It's cool. Yeah. It's cool. It's all right. Like you ain't gotta be humble all the time. Right. Like it's straight, bro. Like say that you got some money in your pocket. It's okay to say that.
But being humble is great.
Yeah, it is.
Being humble is great.
And that's kind of where I'll be like, yo, I'm humble about it. He like, man, forget that. You know what I mean? It's okay. Right. It's fine. Like you ain't gotta be out here in everybody's face, but say you good.
It's the same thing for me because it's like you're that girl. Like oh no, you are literally girl. Do you know what you've done? And for me, it's just like girl, I gotta still work. Like I'm 25, 26. I still gotta work. Yeah. But it is good hearing that. But I never just let that empower my mind. Like oh no, you that girl. Like oh you ain't gotta do that. You ain't gotta do that. Like you are that. But now it's more so like you have done a lot. You've done a great job, and you do deserve nice things. You know, I'm not a materialistic person, but it's like what, you can do some things with ease. Yeah, why not? You do it.
That's it. Yeah. Sometimes the expensive stuff it lasts a little longer.
It definitely lasts. For sure.
It's kind of an investment in a sense.
Quality over quantity. All day, any day, with everything in life.
That's for sure. So after your first year, you did 46. Then the next year, how did that go?
So the next year, which was 2022, I didn't have as many units. And so I honestly think from like January to March, April, I'm still really working, still out here closing a lot of deals, but I was so burned out. Oh, I was so burned out because, and I don't think I've ever actually talked about that, especially not like on a public platform. But I was so burned out because I rode from January to December like no breaks. And I think the first vacation I took was in June of that year, and I worked the entire vacation.
Where'd you go?
I went to San Diego. Okay. And I love San Diego. That is my spot. I know. Yeah, and I'm so glad I went to San Diego because everybody's talking about LA, but San Diego is San Diego for sure. San Diego
definitely is. The weather's always amazing. The people are great.
Exactly.
I love San Diego. That's definitely my retirement spot.
I feel you.
Once I get me a house out there, you know what I mean, be bi-coastal. Right. You know what I mean, live out there for a little bit and come here and Airbnb that out or something, make some bread over there. But
That's a vibe. I think since then we've been back 2-3 times.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it's a spot.
Oh, yeah,
and I don't like to always go to the same spot. Seems like you got the whole world to see.
Right.
But yeah, San Diego.
When it's nice, it's nice. You gotta go back.
Nice. You're right.
So you went to San Diego, enjoyed it, but was working.
I worked the whole time. I actually was kayaking in the ocean, and an offer had got accepted. And so I'm kayaking, and I see my email, and I just got a binded contract. So here I am in the ocean with my helmet on, kayaking, and I'm so excited because I'm like, my offer was just accepted, and I'm still working, still working. But I'm also so glad that I have great relationships around me that, you know, they don't make me feel bad about
doing work. Yeah.
Because it's not like I'm choosing work over relationships. It's just more so like, well, it still has to be done.
Right.
You know, it still has to be done. Right. But and at that time, you know, I had a few people kind of tell me like, it is time for a buyer's agent, or it's time for an administrative assistant because of the amount of transactions that I have done.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm still kind of at the point where good people that work like you is really hard to find.
Definitely.
And, you know, when you talk about a brand that you have built and a level of integrity and honesty and really just work ethic, that is so hard. So I have not mastered that yet in terms of, you know, truly finding that great help.
You and me both.
But a lot of it is me. It's mental. It's not like, you know, no one else can help me. It's just first me finding out how exactly I want help, but learning to let go of responsibilities.
And that first part is huge. It's just learning how do you want help, like, cause you know, it's certain parts that you can delegate and things. I mean, anything can be delegated, but then it's just like, yo, what's gonna make the most sense of my time to let go for somebody else to help. I know I read a book. One of my mentors told me about a book called The E-Myth. And he talks about that a lot. Is it basically like when you start in a business that you want to kind of look at it almost like a franchise in a sense, and breaking it up in different departments right from the beginning, and then that way you can kind of delegate those tasks to people a lot easier. It's almost like McDonald's, like making those tasks so small and easy to deal with that, you know, a kid from high school that knows nothing about the industry can do it. That way you don't have to have somebody that's super informed or super trained to be able to come in and do those tasks. It's easy to kind of run through bodies on them in a sense. You don't really need somebody that's like, oh, well, you know, I need you to be super smart to be able to do this. You just need to do this, and that's it. That's this way, this way, and this way.
But surprisingly, I would say I still love the admin task.
Yeah.
Like, I love checking my email. I love responding to, you know, emails and answering my phone. And those are admin, you know, tasks that anybody can do. But, you know, something like answering the phone, that client, I mean, that's some major stuff because that client can decide to go elsewhere based off the response of that individual. So it still kind of ties down like, no, it's small, but it's still big.
Yeah. That is So like you said, just trying to figure out which tasks make the most sense. And then, I mean, also, like, just depending on where you want to be. Like, because I think we kind of talked about that before we kind of started. Was like, yo, depending on where you're trying to be is going to dictate, you know, if you even need somebody else, right? Because you might be like, yo, I'm comfortable with this amount of volume because I'm able to still interact with my customers the way that I want to. And that's okay. But if you want to get to another level, then you know what you're gonna have to do.
The next level requires help.
Yeah,
so it requires help.
You got to figure that. I mean, so you know that's something that you got to figure out on your own. And then once you do, having that, like, oh shoot, okay, now let me look at my whole process from, you know, start to finish and see what things in these within this process that I feel comfortable with handing off to somebody else. You know
I'm gonna focus heavy on that fall of this year for sure. Because the next level is calling my name.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm talking about.
It's calling my name.
Let's go. Let's get to it. Yeah. So the next year that you did after you did the 46, you did less numbers but more volume.
Yeah, I think I did about 38 units that year. But also, you know, home prices had actually increased. So I'm finding it where I'm not working with as many people, but the home prices are higher, so the volume is higher because of that.
So is it like, I don't want to say the quality of people, but like is it a different tier of customers, or is it just because of the
really still based on the economy.
It's still based on
I mean, with inflation being how it is,
Gotcha.
everything has increased.
Right,
but
right.
At the same time, when things increase, you work with the clients that are able to do what needs to be done in that market. And that's what's happening now. With interest rates still being a little bit higher, you're working with clients that are able to purchase during this time.
Right.
And that's why I always say too.
Right. Yeah.
And so the best time to buy a house, honestly, is when you can afford to buy a house, because you can't just talk about 2% and 3% interest rates when you were not able, like financially, you didn't have the job, it wasn't even a thought for you to consider.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
And a lot of people, they kind of talk about buying a house when you can, right. Still being comfortable with it, but refinance when the opportunity presents itself. Because as long as you're able to refinance, you're still going to get that lower interest rate, but now you don't have to pay what the houses are costing now. Because when you have lower interest rates, you have a higher price point. And then sometimes when the interest rates go up, sometimes price point goes down. So either way, it's more so just picking a battle. Like if the interest rate's a little bit lower, now you got multiple offers on a property. So now you're really paying $30,000-$40,000 over the asking price just to get it, versus interest rates being a little bit higher. And maybe you can kind of, ask for closing costs or reduce the price.
Right.
So it balances out as long as you're able to refinance.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean that's with everything. It's with the car, it's with the house. I mean, any sort of consumer debt, refinance when the opportunity presents itself.
Right. So don't go jack your credit up after you go get the house.
Right.
You know what I mean? Make sure you kind of staying on top of it, paying your bills and your cards and everything on time. And then whenever that opportunity comes, go ahead and jump on it.
And that's major. And just to kind of say, a little bit, your credit still needs to be at a point where you could get pre-approved. Because if interest rates drop back down to 3%, and now your credit is a 400, you're not going to be able to finance. So you still have to qualify for a home. And I think that's a misconception that a lot of people have, because it's more so of like, well, I bought a house, and now this is the time to refinance, so I'll be able to do it. But if your debt to income ratios are too high or your credit score is too low, you're not even qualified to refinance. So you're not able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, so that's huge.
You
see that a lot where people end up doing, like they'll mess up their debt to income will be jacked up. And
so I'm not a mortgage loan officer. That kind of falls into a mortgage loan officer role. But during my time of not having any business, I made sure that I knew every role it was. So I know a lot about lending. And I can say, a lot of people, they purchase a house and then boom, they go out and buy a car. And then, they take these expensive trips and they just run up a whole bunch of debt, because in their mind it's like, well, I don't need my credit for nothing else because I bought the house. Right. And I mean, and I get it to a certain extent, because I hear that every day. I don't need my credit for anything else. I can get a car with a 500 credit score, or I can buy jewelry with this. That doesn't matter. But yes. So that's very common for people, for your debt to income ratios to be messed up.
Yeah,
for sure.
I definitely hear that a lot.
Yeah.
When people once they get the house, they like, I don't need this credit for nothing else, or they get. Some people kind of maintain a high credit score, because I say it to some people like, yo, what you got a high credit score for, and you got a house, and you're not doing nothing with the credit score. Like, what you gonna do with it? Like, let's make some money with it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
true.
You can easily turn your credit into some kind of cash. There's multiple ways to do that, but you just sitting on a high credit score and you're not gonna do nothing.
Spit the game to them. Spit the game.
I don't get
not
it.
on the podcast.
I don't understand.
Not on the podcast.
Like it just be crazy to me. But that's solid though. Like make sure y'all taking notes, like for real. Like y'all, that's huge. Like please don't crash out your credit score after you go buy your house, especially right now in this market.
Yeah.
Because interest rate is high, but eventually it'll come down, and you want to be in a place to be able to refinance and get them payments lowered and everything.
Right.
Like that.
Because all you have to make is 6 mortgage payments. Once you make 6 mortgage payments, you're able to refinance. So that's literally in 6 months.
Yeah.
Because it has to be consecutively every 30 days. So in 6 months you can refinance. So don't do anything that drastic.
Yeah.
Where you're not able to save hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month.
Just by refinancing. Yeah. No, that makes sense. So like when it comes to like entrepreneurs, because I know a lot of the people that follow us are entrepreneurs. Like, how does that work when it comes? Do you have a lot of entrepreneurs that come to you to get to buy houses or whatnot?
I can say not that many, but I'm well aware of the entrepreneur programs that are available because I use those same programs for myself.
Okay.
So it's a completely different process for an entrepreneur. The best thing for an entrepreneur is to keep your money clean. And what I mean by that is literally have a business account for your businesses because you will need to show your income. Right. We write off so much as entrepreneurs, so that bottom line may not really. I mean, it shouldn't show anywhere close to what you're making because why would you want to pay more money in taxes when you don't have to?
Right.
So it's still important to just have your business clean and verify in the way where you are still able to qualify.
Got you. So you have to kind of show somewhat of a profit throughout that time. So you're gonna have to kind of pay some taxes on that money in order to get approved for a mortgage. Right.
And what I do, I actually have an account just for taxes. So I have an account just for taxes. I have an account just for business spending, and then I have a profit account. So I have different accounts to kind of split it up.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's just important to be able to show your bank statements because if you cannot show where you're making the money, you are not going to be approved.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, no, man, look, I really make a lot of money with my business, but when it comes to Uncle Sam, he don't know that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like he see it, but I'm not profitable on paper. But I'm profitable though. I'm telling you, I'm good.
Right.
The bank don't go for that.
Right. Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. No. That's always something I thought about. Like, I know whenever it comes time to go buy a house, like a lot of entrepreneurs, I be thinking like, what am I have to do to make it happen? And I'm like, you're gonna have to come up off some bread.
Yeah, but not only that too, your credit score has to be higher because you're kind of considered a riskier borrower if you're betting on yourself and you're making money off your own employment versus a company for employment. So usually you're gonna have to save around 10 to 20% for a down payment. Whereas if you were W-2, you could have a 0% down payment or 3.5%. So you are, you're just going to have more equity in the home because you are riskier. So interest rates are a little bit higher for entrepreneurs as well because of that. I mean, it's still worth it.
It's still worth it.
It's definitely still worth it. But it's
a little bit of a process than
mm-hmm.
Your traditional person that just got like a regular 9 to 5 or whatnot.
Right.
And that makes sense though, because that's the same way when it comes to like financing a car in your business name. Mm-hmm. Like you usually gotta put a down payment down. Or your interest rate is going to be a lot higher in comparison to if you did it on your personal credit because of those same reasons, because you're a lot more riskier when it comes to the bank side. So it's a riskier, person to give money to. I mean, that's the same thing like just regular. Like if I would prefer to give some money to somebody that I know for sure going to pay me back, opposed to somebody that,
But that doesn't equate to getting paid back. You got some entrepreneurs that are serious people and then you got these people that are W-2s and they still don't pay their bills. But because they are getting paid by an employer, their process is so much smoother. Yeah. That's where my frustration comes in at because it's like, I got to put up $20,000-$30,000 at one time. This person only had to put up $5,000 and y'all bringing me through the hoop, and this person don't even have $30,000 saved.
Right.
We're not going there. But it's just, the that process is like, how am I riskier when I'm showing you what I have versus, someone that doesn't have it, but they have that guaranteed income.
Right.
So, yeah.
And that's all it is that guaranteed.
It is. Yeah.
Whatever. It ain't guaranteed. They can get fired.
Right. They definitely get fired. You're right. Or just allocate their money in different ways.
Right. So, exactly. Yeah. So now you and we in 2022 in your process. You did a little less, but you did more in volume. Mm-hmm. How was that year?
2022, it was good. Everything wasn't just week by week, busy. There were little sprouts where I could rest a little bit, and then there were times where I was slam busy. But I enjoyed that so much because I think I realized in 2022 that entrepreneurship doesn't have to be a 24-hour thing.
Yeah.
You know, and that's when I kind of realized too, you know, set some goals. It's like, how much do you want to make for the year?
Right.
You know, what do you want your year to look like? Because if you're overworked and you're tired and you're drained, you can't show up for your clients.
Right.
So you know, have that balance. And I think that's when I kind of started. Well, that's when I kind of started balancing.
Gotcha.
Realizing that it's okay to take a vacation for 5 days because you deserve it. You work hard every single day. You know, you work maybe from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. at night. You deserve to leave for 5 days. So my mindset now is not so much on volume and units.
Gotcha.
That's not my mindset anymore. I think that I don't really want to say like I've proven myself, but in my mind, I know I can do it.
You can do it, yeah. So
I've
if you need to turn it back on,
right,
you can at any point.
Right. So now it's more so like it's time to let your money make more money without you always being on the scene.
Gotcha.
You know, so now I have now I invest in real estate.
Gotcha.
So, you know, I'm making money.
Almost.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm making money and I'm not having to do anything to the property. Like once I renovate it, I give it to a property manager. Now I do delegate in that aspect because I do not want to be involved with a tenant at all. So, you know, I have a property manager, they handle everything. I get a deposit every month.
Yeah,
you know, and it comes on time. So I'm happy about it. So I think now I want to transition to I want a family. Yeah. You know, I want to be able to show my kids the world. I want to be able to teach my kids. I don't want to just throw them in daycare or throw them with somebody. I want to be involved with my family. So it's definitely different now.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense.
Definitely different.
I like it. Yeah, definitely got to make the money minions work for you. You got to for sure. Well, it definitely takes the stress off. So how did you work through? Because I know you said that first year you was burnt out, and you realized it that second year. So how did you work through that burnout? Like what you have to do? Was that like the vacation that you took, or how'd you kind of come out of that?
I mean, I think that's a really good question. Yeah. I don't know if I can really give an answer to it. It's more so of just finding things that you enjoy outside of working. Gotcha. Because, you know, it was to the point where, you know, some of my family members would be like, well, what do you like outside of real estate? And I'm like, real estate and travel. Like, that's what I like. I travel, real estate. That's it. That's all I got to do. I'm cool on it. Like, if that's all I do, I'm super satisfied. Yeah. But, I don't know. Just being able to walk around or just be here right now feels really good because this is a balance where I'm not constantly checking my phone to see who may call me while I'm here. So I don't know. I just think it comes to, I don't know, kind of what we talked about before we got on camera. Right. When you're doing really well and you're really consistent, you know, you also have to take care of what you're making. Right. You know, we don't talk about that a lot, but as entrepreneurs, you know, every entrepreneur may have a season where things are really good and then things slow down. Right. But if you're taking care of your money financially, and, you know, I'm not just going to go into it too much, but you're able to fall back and still nothing changes. You know, you're still able to live. So
that's a fact.
Yeah. So
that was one of the things that helped you, you know, kind of be able to like chill a little bit because you had some bread put to the side. Right. It's like, yo, I don't have to go as hard because I made the money. Okay, so JT had a little video. She was like, I don't have to go as hard because I ain't got kids. You know, but you know, I don't have kids, but I'm not saying it like that. I love that video actually. But I mean, it was more so like I'm taking care of myself financially. I'm not spending every dime that I make, so I'm able to relax a little bit. You know, not saying, you know, and in some eyes it may be like a fall off or whatever, but I'm actually equipping myself up for something more. I'm not going to talk about it on camera. I would love to talk about it with you. I would just say everybody else stay tuned, but you know, it is more to it. The best part about real estate to me is there's so many different avenues of real estate. Right. And you know, when the average consumer, the average person think about real estate, they think about the agent. Yeah. But there's the investor side, the developer side. There's the broker that's owning the business, where you're not out here every day selling a house, but you're more so you're training your agents to be great. That's residual income. So it's so many different avenues of real estate. So you know, my goal is to tap into all of them. But you know, it's levels to it. It definitely is.
The level right now is the agent, but the agent and the investor, but you know, it's time. It's time for more stuff.
The next level.
For sure. So it may be less public eye.
Right.
it may be less public eye, and at that point, it is what it is.
Right.
But it's so much more in other avenues.
But I mean, you'll pop out
for
like,
sure,
once, like, because that's how it happens. Like typically, especially with entrepreneurship, like right before you hit a goal, you usually got to go away because you got like really in grind mode. You really trying to get to it, so you ain't really got time to be. You know what I mean, posting and all that. Like if you on your phone, you like trying to make transactions happen. You talking to clients, or you doing whatever it's going to take to accomplish that goal. So for sure. Like sometimes you do got to kind of tuck yourself away, and it's okay. Don't be all sad about it or whatever. But you know what I mean, tuck yourself away, guys, and go after that goal. Like get it. Like you ain't got to be in the public eye. They ain't got to see you.
Right.
You know? When you come out, they'll see you.
Right.
It'll be a big deal.
Right.
So that's super dope. Well, I'm definitely excited to hear about this next venture.
I'm excited too. I'm super excited, and I can't wait to share it publicly. I just I got to do it first.
You got to do the work.
It's coming soon. So
but I mean, that kind of like what I was telling you before with some people that come out here and they spend all that crazy bread on starting a business, and then they pop out and then they be like, yo, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, because
consistency is the hardest part.
Yeah.
The hard, especially when you're not seeing the return, doing something. I mean, okay. So my thing is, this year I've been in the gym Monday through Friday. So I go to the gym 5 days a week. I'm looking at my stomach the first month and I'm like, I'm finna stop. Honestly, I'm like, okay, I see why so many women get BBLs because you just laying on the table and it's quick. I've been in the gym every day and I'm like, my body ain't changing. My body ain't changing. But I took the consistency from my business, but the same mindset for consistency for the gym because it is a process.
Right.
Sure. So I mean the same thing. Just consistent in everything.
Got you. And definitely getting them gains in the gym.
I'm trying to. It's gonna be natural. It's definitely gonna be natural.
You working, girl. You working.
I appreciate it.
You in there consistently for sure.
For sure.
That's what's up. That's what I'll be looking for it. Like,
okay.
Yup, she in there today. Every day with it. That's
right. That's right.
Yeah, so that's super dope. Like you definitely like some people do not realize how consistency is definitely key. And that's like the key. Like most people are like, yo, what's the key to success?
Yeah.
It's literally consistency, like just showing up every day and doing the work.
Right.
And you keep doing that enough. You're going, and like I said, falling in love with the process and all of that. Like that's just gonna make the consistency a little bit easier. Like I feel like like if you fall in love with it, with the process a little bit, then it makes it easier to show up every day.
Right.
To do whatever that thing is. So stop trying to just jump into things because you see other people doing them and you don't have no real genuine interest in it.
Right.
Because that is creating another job at that point.
That's true.
Like, oh, dang.
That's true.
I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like I want to go talk to this customer. I don't feel like meeting this client. I don't feel like doing the legwork or the admin or the boom, whatever comes with it. Like, fall in love with all of that.
Right.
And it's just a walk in the park every time you're showing up. Like, yes, this is it.
That's a very selfish time too, because I love to travel and I just could not do it. Sometimes friends are like, do you want to go here? Do you want to go out to eat? I could not do it.
Yeah.
So, I think that was probably like the first year that I just had to say no to everything. Gotcha. Because before real estate, especially working a job, not trying to be funny, but when it's not yours, it's like, okay, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I'll do it. But with this business, it's like, no, I actually have to say no to things that I want to do to focus on where I actually want to be. So it was some time where I actually had to be, it was me and my business.
Yeah. So how did that affect like relationships with like your friends and family members or whatever, like during that no time?
As far as like friends, it really didn't affect anything because, I think we're all in this part where you have to grow. Yeah. You have to want more. And to be honest, I don't surround myself around people that don't want more. So if you're mad because I am working 50, 60 hours a week, we are not compatible.
Right.
Even as friends, like we are not compatible, right, at all. So and I can say like with family, I'm just really glad that everybody remained healthy.
Right.
That's what I would say, because it was some times where I didn't see a lot of people at all because I was working just that much. And before I got into real estate, I had no idea that a real estate agent would be working from sun up to sundown because, when you look at all of these what TV shows of real estate agents.
Right.
You know, you just see these people dressed up and you see them making a lot of money and they driving in nice cars and that's it.
Right.
But you know, when you really do it, it's like that is not the reality. I mean, at least from the start,
right.
you know,
right.
that is not the reality. So for me, I'm just really glad that, you know, nothing happened in my family where I missed out. Because you know, I mean, I'm still able to see everybody, so it was okay.
And now, now you're able to enjoy those fruits.
Now I can enjoy it.
Well, you and them,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
We can all enjoy.
Y'all can enjoy it together.
Exactly.
Still, so no, that's definitely solid.
Yeah.
Because you know the healthy piece is big. Because I know recently, that's why I had to go up to New York. Was dealing with my dad, and he was sick, so I had to go up there for a while, and you know, kind of help get him back right. But because of the fruits of the labor and having a solid team, I was able to go up there and not miss a beat.
Right, and that's a blessing.
So, for sure. So, but you know, I can only think like if I was working a job or something like that, they would have never gave me that amount of time off. Like, I mean, definitely would have been coming back to no job.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. It's a lot of freedom in entrepreneurship, but it's not like you're always free.
No.
You know, because social media will make it seem like entrepreneurs are just, you know, doing the best thing ever and they're never working and they're here. But no, you're putting in work.
All the time.
So yeah, that's a major blessing.
Even when you don't see me working, I'm working in my mind.
You're working in your mind, okay?
All right, what all I got to do tomorrow? You know, who I got to follow up with, what I got to do, boom, boom. Just running through it. So y'all be saying me just looking like I'm just chilling. I'm not. I'm just going through mental craziness. Right. So that's what's up. So I guess, did you have anything else that you wanted to share with the people?
I don't know. I can't think of anything. Well, I guess I would say,
or some motivational or anything like that.
I would say, especially for entrepreneurs, even if you're thinking about going into business, what we kind of just said about staying consistent. You know, a lot of times people don't talk about the struggles that they face when they start businesses. It's just more so of it's great now. You know, they only talk about it's great now, but I guess it's just a recap of everything that we really said.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to say there's no way I would go back to a job now, but entrepreneurship has just broadened my eyesight. My life. It's broadened things that I would have never experienced in a job. So I'm so fortunate that I did it. And so, you know, if there's anybody watching that's on the fence about it, I would say do it. Do it scared. Do it afraid.
Right.
You know, move out of your hometown if you have to. Talk to that stranger because networking is so important. And you never know who wants to listen to you. And I would just say, like, in my mind, like I told you before, I had all of these negative thoughts about why nobody would want to buy a house from me because I did not have a house and I didn't have the money saved or I could not afford a house. And, you know, if I just would have let all of those negative, I don't even know the word, but if all of that negative would have just been in my mind, I would not be, you wouldn't have invited me to speak because I wouldn't have had anything to speak on.
No,
you know,
sure.
So it's just really being positive and knowing that you are deserving and worthy of the next level.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as real estate nuggets, you know, just give me a call or send me a DM or email me. That's what I would say. I'm tagged in this video, so you know it's nothing to send me a message, but I can talk about real estate all day.
Right.
I can. So, and that's another thing too. Like I love what I do, so I can talk about it all day.
Right. And then, are you constantly like, what is it, like continuing education and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's required, but I do it anyway because you know the next level requires for me to be as knowledgeable as possible.
Right. So just always up on
for
it.
sure.
So
for sure.
Y'all got any questions? Make sure y'all hit
definitely give me a call for sure.
That's it. Well, I mean, this has been amazing.
It was great.
Appreciate you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
I'm curious to know, like, if somebody wanted to actually drop a comment to say how the podcast was, or you know, any sort of
any questions,
pros, cons.
Drop it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then you know, we'll have it. You know, it'll stay up. Like,
okay.
I'll never let them delete. And then we're gonna take it and drop it on YouTube as well.
Okay.
So it'll live there too.
Awesome.
But yeah, if anybody got any questions or anything, it should be able to see.
Okay.
Any comments.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't click. Go ahead.
Let me see if it.
Oh, there is. There's 6 comments.
Oh yeah.
Okay, people are watching. How cool is that? Okay, so they said, when do you think the prices will go down? So I would say from that perspective, no one can indicate when prices will go down, right? Economists, they will predict, but it is only a prediction, right? So that's why we kind of talked about buy a house when you're able to.
Right.
Buy a house when you're able to. I honestly couldn't tell you when prices are going to go down. Now, there's been speculations that interest rates are scheduled to drop possibly first quarter of 2024, but they also said that this year. And
right,
inflation has constantly increased, and interest rates have as well. So I don't think if anybody is telling you when they're going to drop, I mean, it's just not accurate. So I wouldn't be able to tell you. What if my credit score is high and my debt to income ratio is off, but I already have a house and I want to refinance? Okay, so if your credit score is high, that's great, but your debt to income ratio is being off, that still affects you. The reason why that affects you is because lenders look at it like, wow, okay, he has a great credit score, but all of the debt that he's borrowed, he still owes. So if your debt to income ratio is high, more than likely they are not going to refinance you. It's like having a $20,000 credit card limit and you owe $19,500. They're not going to increase your credit limit because you're considered a risky borrower based off your credit limit. So, if it is something like a credit card, you want to keep that utilization at 30% or below. And that's so you can constantly get those increases on the card and just etc. So it's pretty much the same for refinancing. But, to be completely honest with you, debt to income ratios play a big part in credit score. So, you're not going to be in the high 700s or the high 800s with the debt to income because it's major. But that's what I would say. Definitely get something paid down for sure, so your debt to income ratios would actually be a little bit lower. Okay, and Brandon said, yo, Jalana, the girl. So I don't refer to him as Brandon because he's a client, so I always say Mr. Harris.
Mr. Harris.
So I appreciate that, Mr. Harris. And then K Carswell. This is better than Earn Your. Oh, it's okay. The podcast was great. Great. Okay. I have not met you, but I've heard great things about you. And congratulations on such a successful business. So that's awesome. I'm glad. I'm glad of the good feedback.
Yeah. So
good.
You turned up, girl.
Okay. I'm glad. Well, maybe next year after I kind of pop out with some things that I've been talking about, maybe I'll be back on here and I'll be talking from a different perspective.
And we'll have a way wider audience too, so it'll be lit.
Good,
so
great.
Turned up.
But, it seems like it was a great audience because as long as you get people engaged, people will come. So
they definitely gonna come. So we always try to drop some gems and we bring only the best out. You know what I mean, to share with the people. So,
I appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Okay.
So all right, man. I guess this is it, man. We out, man. We appreciate y'all so much for stopping in. This is the recap. Make sure y'all follow her, tag her. If you got any questions about real estate, if you're looking into buying, selling, or anything like that, make sure y'all reach out. And that's it. We out of this joint.
Okay. That was good. That was great.